What is up, cool kids? I'm Cool Trainer Gavin, and this is going to be sort of a quick video. I'm going to try to keep it roughly 10 minutes about me sort of going through and reacting to some of these beta Pokemon that got put out recently with the, well, I guess recently for me, because I haven't been able to sit down and record any videos for the past, month. But of all the stuff from the Gold Silver demo from like way back in the day, I think it was like 99. Yeah, I want to say 99 is when they like showcased this, and then we just got the like ROM, I guess, the demo ROM, like 3 weeks ago. But this is my first chance to go through and just kind of sit down and just kind of go through them and check them out. So I'm just going to go through, look at all the changes and things. I would talk about Gen 1, but most of it's pretty much the same. They didn't even change over a lot of the sprites, as you can see, because I think this column right here is the final sprite that ended up in the final game of Gold and Silver. This is this one right here is the one from the demo, and this is the one from the demo in color. So front sprite's the same as blue version for these two. I'm not going to go through Gen 1 because that's the case for like 50% of these Pokemon. I think there's very, very few that are like final, final art that ended up actually being in Gen 2. So I'm going to ignore Gen 1. So let's start with the starters. So Chikorita and Meganium are basically the same. But look at Bayleaf. Like, what was going on here? This tells me that they probably just had something totally different planned out for this evolution line, and then decided to scrap it right before they put this out, so they had to just say screw it and only put in Chikorita and Meganium, the ones that they had done. Because Chikorita to Meganium makes sense, but like Chikorita to this thing to Meganium does not make sense at all. So I think they must have had something more along the lines of, it looks to me a little bit like Flabebe. Like a really, really crappy early version of Flabebe. That's what this looks like to me. So maybe they were doing some kind of really early Flabebe kind of thing. I don't see it over here, and obviously there wasn't Fairy type back then, so pure speculation there. But Chikorita and Meganium look basically the same. Moving on to the fire type starters, I actually, like, a lot of people don't like Cyndaquil for some reason. I actually really like Cyndaquil. But look how adorable this thing is. What was his name? Flambear. I love it. I honestly love it. Then we have Volbear and Dynabear. I think we should get these Pokemon. I think they should make these Pokemon a thing in Gen 8. I'm a really big fan of these. Obviously, their sprites look a little Gen 1-ish. If you look, these are mostly Gen 1 sprites. I mean, I guess not totally Gen 1-ish. This one definitely looks Gen 1-ish. It looks sort of like Arcanine's Gen 1 sprite. But overall, like, Fire-type bears, do we have Fire-type bears? No, we don't. I think that'd be really cool. So, Game Freak, bring me the Fire Bear. Then we have basically Poplio, less feminine Brayon, and it sort of looks like Loch Ness Monster instead of Primarina. But I think right here it says may have influenced Poplio. I think that kind of makes sense, at least for this one. Maybe just giving them like a rough idea. There's gotta be hundreds of concept art of Pokemon that we have never even seen before that just got scrapped. How wild would that be if we just were like, if they somehow decided to release every like concept art that never got put in the games? I would love that. But overall, I think I would have liked to have these over Cyndaquil and Typhlosion. I really like Typhlosion, but these are really cool. But I'm glad we got Feraligatr and Totodile and Crocodile instead of these things, because these things, they look very beta-ish, and I'm sure they would have cleaned them up, but I still like the idea of Feraligatr. What did they do to Noctowl? This Noctowl looks so good. Like, Yeah, I mean, it could use a little bit of a different color palette. Maybe a little bit darker on the wings, maybe a little bit darker on the chest, but like, that Noctowl looks so good. And like, if you look, like, it's also standing on one leg. Let me zoom in a little bit there. Oh lord. Yeah, it's also standing on one leg, just like Hoot Hoot, which like makes sense. Even though like it does have 2 feet. That's something I didn't know for a long time, is that Hoot Hoot actually does have 2 feet. But I think it would be cool to just like stick with that, where it's just like hiding the other foot up in its like body somewhere. I think this version of Noctowl is a lot better. Something that this game gave us was a lot of baby Pokemon, because in Gen 2, when we actually got Gen 2, there was Magby, Elekid, Smoochum, and Tyrogue. Were they the only baby Pokemon? Oh, Pichu, Igglybuff, and Cleffa too. So I think we got 7 Pokemon that are pre-evolutions of previous Gen 1 Pokemon. But they had so many more planned, man. It's kind of wild. They have baby Vulpix, evolved level 13, and we'll see some evolution methods between this and the final got changed up quite a bit too. There was Trifox, which look how cute that thing is. Like, I mean, honestly, like they serve no purpose whatsoever, because by the time you get them, unless they put this in on like Route 2, by the time you get it, it'd pretty much already be a Vulpix anyway. We have little baby Tangela. It looks so edgy, man. This was like half the girls that I went to high school with in like 7th grade. This is them right here. This one's Tangel. I see what you did there. Evolves at level 22, so that's more reasonable. That's a little bit more reasonable. Then we have early Emo Tangrowth. Because this one doesn't even have eyes. Is that an eye? Is that supposed to be an eye right there? I'm not sure. But you can definitely tell it's supposed to be Tangrowth. Like, regardless of it being next to Tangela's pre-evolution. This one was Galanla? Weird. Mantine is one of my favorite Pokemon, and the fact that they changed it so much, while still keeping it pretty much the same, is like really cool to me. Because I really like I would not have been mad if this had been switched. Because like I really like how it's like the white underside, white or like bluish underside, but the back is like pure black with like a face. I think that's really cool, because like they sort of kept with it, with like obviously with it being kind of, you know, a kind of like dingy white and blue on the back with these little eye things. But I would have really liked that. I would have been able to see that as maybe like even like a water dark type, just because that's really cool. But obviously they, honestly, hot take, I kind of like some of these ones that they didn't put in better. Like this one I like better. Like I said, like the Noctowl one I liked a lot better. Quillfish had an evolution, which is also kind of wild, and it wasn't even a poison type. Maybe they just hadn't put that in yet, because they did that with a couple of things. Like this one was coded as water, even though obviously it should be a fire type. I think that's the only one we've seen. Oh, Noctowl and Hoot Hoot also weren't normal types, they were just flying types, which is kind of weird. So this looks like it should have been an electric type. It's got the little like thunderbolt on its forehead, and it kind of looks like Wishcash. I'm pretty sure some people have already talked about this, but it does look like Wishcash a little bit. But I definitely think that they must have given Quillfish a bit of a buff, because we're supposed to evolve at level 18, which means you probably would be able to get it pretty early on as well, like as soon as you got like an old rod, maybe even. But that's kind of wild. Pichu, significantly better this way. It's basically I don't know why they just made the baby Pokemon just a ball with a face and ears, because they did that with Cleffa, Igglybuff. They were gonna do it with Pichu, but I'm glad they didn't. If you look at this, normally all 3 of these evolve with Friendship. Now they just evolve at level 12. So I don't think the Friendship mechanic was in this game, because I don't think there's any Pokemon in here that say evolve with Friendship or evolve with Happiness or whatever it's called. Early Quagsire. Look at that gut. Look at that fat belly on Quagsire. I love it. Quagsire was not a ground type, which is kind of weird. Also, there's no Wooper. I just saw this. There's no Wooper. So Quagsire was just going to be Pokemon by itself. That's kind of cool. Natu and Xatu were pretty much the same, just colored differently. Flying Psychic. Evolves with a Heartstone, so they intended to have some new items, because I think later on we'll see a different one too. Another like evolution stone that didn't end up existing. Evolves with a Heartstone instead of level 20 something, which I think it was, maybe 30. We see Meryl. Meryl wasn't originally blue. That's weird. Because like when we first got our like first view of Meryl, everyone called it Peekaboo, because like it was like superficially this generation's like Pikachu sort of. Just to think that it wasn't always blue is kind of weird. So if you weren't like around back at the time when Gold and Silver came out, it was kind of wild, because I don't think that they really ever intended Pokemon to have sequels. I think they were just gonna make the original games, and then that was just gonna be it. Nintendo did not anticipate Pokemon to be this popular at all. So when people got new Pokemon, anything, people just went wild. And one of the things, probably one of the most popular Gen 2 Pokemon was Meryl. And then to see that it didn't have an evolution, like Azumarill's not here. So that's also kind of wild too. We see some other possible future, inspired Pokemon. So we see a little shark thing with a little light on its head. I just noticed that. I never noticed that it had a little dangly thing on its head. But it's called Sunmola. Sunmola 1. Interesting. Evolving to Anchorage. That's a dope Pokemon. That's a really dope Pokemon. I'm really sad that we never got it. Water Steel. This is the first Steel type we've seen. And I can see where they could think that this could, not so much Huntail, but definitely Sharpedo. Like, if you take, like, the chain off it right here, that's basically a Sharpedo. Although I don't know where the little light up thing goes. See, at first I thought that this would be, like, a split evolution line, so it would go from this to this being Water Steel, and then this being, like, Water Dark, or Water Electric. But no, apparently it just goes from this to this to this. Whatever. So we see Crobat. Crobat, the Gen 2 Sprite was never very good, but it didn't change a whole lot. Xing instead of Crobat. Interesting. Like crossing, because it's an X. Huh, I get it. And this also didn't evolve with Friendship either. Evolved to level 44. That's really late to evolve a Golbat. See Baby Paris once again. Same thing with Goldine's little baby. I'm glad this didn't happen. Like, it looks adorable. I would definitely catch it just for fun. But evolves at level 12. So there would have been no point in getting this. This also kind of blew my mind. Ditto was meant to have an evolution. It's supposed to evolve with a metal coat. Wild. Influence Metal Powder held items. So Ditto has two exclusive held items, the Metal Powder and the Light Powder, I think, which raise different stats of Ditto. But that's weird. That weirds me out. Doduo had a baby form. Evolved level 16. Sunforce here was a Grass Psychic type. That's weird to me. And there's no Sunkern either. This was just a Pokemon by itself. So, and the design's basically the same, but it was coming out of the ground instead of having feet, which is probably why its base speed is so low. They probably just never changed it. So a little bit of history here. Look at little Phanpy. I love Phanpy so much. Phanpy's probably my. I think a while back I did like my top 10 like favorite Pokemon based on like there's like a website you can go to. I'll probably not remember to link it in the description, to be honest, but there's a website you can go to where it's like, it shows you a bunch of different Pokemon, you click on like your favorite 3 out of all of them, and then you just click next and it'll give you another slide, and it turned out Phanpy is like my 3rd favorite Pokemon. I love Phanpy so much. Donphan, pretty much identical. This looks like Donphan's shiny sprite, honestly. Then we had this thing, which I thought was going to be a ghost type or like early Misdreavus, but no, it's a dark normal type that evolves level 29 into Girafarig, which was meant to be a dark normal instead of a psychic normal. And I wish that we had gotten this version of it, because look at that back sprite. I can see why, because it is kind of creepy. I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of creepy, but it's so cool. And Dark Normal, I don't think we had that. Not that it's a good typing at all, but we didn't get that typing again until Gen 7 when we had Alolan, Rattata, and Raticate. So that's really cool that they decided to swap out the Psychic, or the Dark type for normal. That's weird. Smeargle, pretty much the same. Meowth was meant to have a baby evolution that evolved to level 14. Look how adorable it is. Once again, Meowth is not very good. I've used one and it died pretty quickly in a Nuzlocke, but baby Meowth would have been great. I think these kind of look like an early version of like Purloin, because they're cats, they're Dark type. It is female only, which is a little weird, but they have like a little bell on their tail. I think that's what that is. And look, this one's even like standing up like Purloin is in Gen 7. Or Gen 6 and Gen 7, I guess. So that's kind of cool. Politoed. I wish that they had kept Politoed like this. I get they wanted to look more, they probably did because they wanted to look more different from like Poliwrath, but oh man, that's so cool. It looks like a big like boss toad. This evolved with a Heartstone too instead of with a King's Rock. Weird. But I guess King's Rock must have been an item because it evolves from Slowbro with a King's Rock. Interesting. So its stats must have been quite a bit better too. Imagine Slowbro having an evolution. This thing would be broken. Something that I've never understood is why Ledian, the Ledian that we got, its like classification is the 5-star Pokemon. Like, why? Like, it doesn't have stars anywhere on it. This is why. It was basically Lediba dropped a couple legs and the Dachshund's back turned to stars. So I much prefer this Ledian. I think it looks a lot cooler. But I think they should have changed its like classification. Little baby Ponyta looks adorable, evolves level 20, which that actually makes sense because Ponyta evolves super late. Evolves like level 44 or something like that, maybe level 40. And I always thought that was really late. So little baby Ponyta, I would have liked that. So we see Espeon, little derpy in this sprite. That also evolves with a Heartstone. We see Umbreon, which looks basically the same except for some coloring. But it was a poison type and evolved with a Poison Stone, which I think we see a little bit later. But that's really cool that instead of going with like Night and Day, which is, they might have been doing this before they implemented the Night and Day mechanic, which I think is kind of cool. We have Slowking's Shell. No direct relation to Slowpoke or Slowking. Interesting. We have Baby Grimer. I'm not sad that this didn't get in the game. Although that, also, same thing with little baby Ponyta, where like Grimer evolves into Mach also really late, like late 30s. I want to say like 38, 37. But to have like one like in the middle, I think that makes sense. But like I said, only if they gave the Grimer buff, because Grimer's not good. Remoraid was a gun. And I get like it's supposed to be based off a pistol fish or triggerfish. That's the name of it. It's triggerfish. It's a type of fish that like eats bugs, but the way it catches them is like it shoots water out of the water to bugs sitting like on the water's edge, knocks them into the water and eats them. Fun bio fact for you. But it was literally a Glock. And like I've always kind of wondered, because like right here you can see it a little bit, but man, that was like super obvious. And it makes sense why it goes. I've always wondered like why, you know, a fish to an octopus now goes, but when in the context of a gun to a tank, that makes sense. Octillery looks ready for battle, man. I'm really sad we didn't get this Octillery, because that's honestly like what Octillery sounds like. It looks like octopus artillery, not just octopus. Tyrogue and Hitmontop. These look bad. Baby Growlithe looks adorable. Doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Mime Jr. We were supposed to get Mime Jr. in this gen. It's weird that's a normal type. That must be some kind of typo as well. Baby Mr. Mime, early Mime Jr. evolves level 15. Look, it looks like a little nugget. It's just like an egg with like a little hat. That's pretty cool. I like this version of Smoochum a lot better. just because it literally looks like mini Jinx. Like, it looks like it's like a kid seeing their parent and dressing up like their parent. Which I think is adorable. It was also only an Ice type instead of Ice Psychic, which is kind of interesting. Elegant. Hot take, I prefer this one. Like, this one makes a lot more sense because Electabuzz has, like, really big arms. And I guess that's, like, Elekid's whole thing is, like, it swings its arms to, like, power itself up. But this one's just so cool. Like, it's got a little halo that like, just kind of floats, it looks like. I kind of like it. I don't know which one of these Magby I like better. I kind of like this one with the spikiness. I mean, overall, they look pretty similar. I think this one looks cuter, which is what I think more what they were going for with baby Pokemon. But this one just looks so much cooler, so I don't really know. I would have been fine with either. Blossom's wild. Blossom was basically black. That might have been a little racist. Because, like, obviously supposed to be, like, a hula dancer. So maybe that's why they changed its color. It was supposed to be a poison type instead of just pure grass. It evolved with a poison stone. And Weepinbell had another evolution besides Victreebel, same way that Gloom got Blossom. I wish that we got this thing. Gen 8, I want this thing. Fire Water type. That isn't a legendary Pokemon that nobody can ever get. Man, it just looks so cool. Fire Water in Gen 2, that just blows my mind. Delibird looks pretty much the same. A little more obvious that it's Santa here. We have Electric Tigers. Look how adorable they look. I'm not really one for, you know, really cute looking Pokemon, but Jesus, look at them. They must have been pretty late game if it evolves at level 35. Man, it just looks, I just want to hug it. Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd got an evolution. People have been literally asking for this since, like, Gen 4. When they put out, like, that some other Pokemon from Gen 1 were getting evolutions like Electivire, Magmortar. People were like, Farfetch'd, do something with Farfetch'd. And they planned to do it in Gen 2, but they never did. And I'm so sad. They're doing Farfetch'd dirty. I mean, it doesn't look great, but it's something. I would have loved it. I love Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd is one of my favorite Pokemon. These two are really weird, because they're Ghost-type Pokemon, and this one is really cool looking, but this one evolves at level 1, and, like, it's supposed to be like a voodoo doll, so, like, I get why this one never made it into the game. It's literally, like, a doll with a knife stabbed through it. And I think there's supposed to be some kind of, maybe this was sort of the idea for, like, Bayonet as well, because it sort of looks like a toy that then had a pin or knife or whatever stuck through it. So maybe some later things going on there. Murkrow, same thing with Delibird, where they, like, subtly, like, it was very unsubtle that it was wearing, like, a witch's hat, but now they changed it to be kind of subtle. This looks weird. Like, it's cool that, like, it has 2 eggs for Blissey and, like, the big heart on top, but I think this one just looks better, makes more sense to be an evolution of Chansey. But it evolves level 45, and again, not by Friendship, so Friendship was not in this game at all. Scizor was meant to be Bug Flying instead of Bug Steel, and didn't evolve with a Metal Coat. We know Metal Coat was in the game, because we saw Ditto's evolution have it, but Scizor was not meant to be a Steel type, which is kind of weird. Pinsir was meant to have an evolution, named Plux. That'd be so bad. It looks like they might have turn this into Heracross, just based on, like, the arms a little bit and, like, this horn in the middle. So this might have become Heracross. I don't know what the hell is going on here. Like, why was this Porygon 2? It did evolve with an upgrade, so that evolved in the same way. But this just makes a lot more sense for Porygon 2. Licky Licky was supposed to be in this game. Also really sad. I think I like this a lot more than Licky Licky. Just because of the mustache. Only because of the mustache. Just named Link. Wild. Steelix basically the same. It evolved into Onyx by level up, which is kind of interesting. This version of Kingdra, I'm so sad we never got. Look how cool that is. I'm a zoom real in. Oh, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Kingdra, look at it. It looks so good. Why did this not happen? Game Freak, I'm mad. Gen 8, like a Alolan, how they do Alolan forms, I want that as like a whatever form of Kingdra. I'm looking at you. And we have, zoom back out, nope. We have early Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. I think this might be where people got like the legendary dogs from, because people are like, some people call them legendary dogs, and then it just triggers everybody else. They're like, oh, they're not dogs, they're legendary beasts. But you know, like, this is clearly a dog. This is a wet dog. That I think is a dog. But other than Raikou's, which I really like, I'm not mad that they changed these two. These two look pretty bad. They look very Gen 1-ish. But I really like this version of Raikou. I think Sneasel was supposed to be maybe like the mythical of the region, because it's by itself toward the end of the decks. It looked a lot different. Originally it was only a dark type, which is a little weird. Ho-Oh, so we don't see Lugia in here anywhere, which I thought was really interesting. And Ho-Oh was a pure flying type, so they must have added the fire type when it got to like when they decided to add Lugia, which is kind of cool. And finally, instead of Celebi, we had Leafeon, which, let me zoom back out, which is pure grass type. Early Leafeon evolves from Eevee with Leaf Stone. That's kind of weird. So we potentially, this might have been just a super last minute thing, because it wasn't up by Espeon and Umbreon. But man, the Gen 2 Pokédex looked a lot different. Most of the changes I'm pretty glad they made, but overall, it's like, I don't know how I feel about it, because like this version of Raikou I love. This version of Kingdra I think is fantastic. There's, you know, obviously Farfetch'd evolution, would have loved it. These Tigers would have loved him. Politoed looks a lot better there. Draftrig looks a lot better there. You know, I've talked about all the ones that I like, but let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna try and find the ROM, and maybe I'll do that just as like a quick 20-minute, you know, just me playing and editing it down. Me play it for like as long as the demo will allow. And it's all in Japanese, so maybe not. But yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts on some of these Pokemon. I think it's really cool of Nintendo. I don't even know if they officially released this or if somebody found it. I don't really know what the case was. But I do know that they revealed some more concept art of Gen 1 Pokemon sometime around this. So I think it's really cool for them to do that with the whole Gorochu thing. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about all these kind of things. If you are new to the channel, feel free to drop a like. And if you enjoyed this video as much as I did, please like and or subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch at CoolTrainerGav. And until next time, smile later.